Today on the 01581, Senator Michael Moore, and of course, our town manager, Kristi Williams. Hi, and welcome to this episode of the 01581 Let's Talk. I'm joined by Kristi Williams, who we haven't seen in a few shows. She was gracious enough to be kind of bumped for some longer content, but also for good reason, because Kristi, you've been hard at work along with your team on the budget.
Yes.
So give us an update.
Sure. So we're preparing the fiscal 25 budget, which doesn't seem imaginable given we've just gotten into fiscal 24, but that is our process given our timelines. So on Thursday, December 21st, the completed budget will go to the select board and the advisory finance committee, and then will be posted on the website, available for everybody to take a look at. And then the next step in that process would be to have our budget hearing in January. And then on January 25th, we'll do our all-day budget meeting with the Advisory Finance Committee and the Select Board. That's a really good time for folks to either tune in or come. It really is all day, and in the Great Hall, and it's a Thursday. But you get presentations from all of our larger departments, so DPW, police, fire, school. And then any departments that might have something extraordinary or big change.
Unique, I would echo that comment. I mean, I realize folks are like, okay, I'm not going to set aside a day to do, but if you're interested in it and you're available, it really is. I mean, as a select board member, and I feel like we've been doing this for what, like 4 years now?
I think
something
so.
like that.
Yeah.
And it's something you introduced. It really is a little bit more of a kind of a relaxed setting, and I mean we're on camera and all of that, but it's really a great opportunity for the community, certainly all the relevant boards, to hear from those presenters and really kind of dig in a little bit more about questions. And because it's, we're looking ahead at a future budget, I think it also, my thought is it gives those department heads a sense to kind of give, like, what's the sense of those boards, or finance committee and the select board on these matters, right?
Definitely.
So these meetings are all televised, are all part of open meetings. So if you miss one, our friends at Westboro TV have those available.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I guess I would just say too, the budget that we put forward on the 21st is the beginning, but again, we are so early. So just recognizing that there's some numbers that we still don't know. As people are looking through the budget book, and it's all outlined in there, but it is a big document. So we don't know what our state aid numbers are. We won't know that until the governor's budget comes out, and that's still just an estimate. Our insurance numbers, things like that. So some of the big ones.
Those are always things that lag behind, and
and
so you and your team look back at forecasting and kind of maybe some other trends that you're seeing, and okay. And what's going on with the community center?
Sure. So we're still working with the select board to finalize some agreements. We have completed our building assessments. Those are all available online. So on our new website, at the bottom of the front page, actually, there's a spotlight section. And so one of the spotlights is the community center. So you look for that picture and then just click on that, and it has all the documents and presentations since we started talking about it. So we are still on track, I think, to close in March of 2024. So that's coming fast.
Yes, it is. Lots going on. Just back to the budget, where would folks find those documents once they're available?
Sure. So on the town manager page, there's a whole budget section. So then you would look at FY25. We'll do a quick link to it right from the homepage, just while it's new as well. But if you want to look at historical budget documents, it goes back several years.
Okay. So. And from a town meeting perspective, so if folks kind of tune all of this out and they enter their new year and they're not thinking about the FY25 budget for our town, when would they start to see the impact or like articles that they would be voting on that would inform that budget?
Well, so the articles will be in March. So at the annual town meeting, we'll vote on the budget. And then that budget won't start until July 1st of 2024.
Right.
But we are going to start pulling together articles now. So you'll start to see a draft of those in January with the select board, and it'll be on the website. And so really just gearing up for our annual town meeting.
Yeah, so like on the 22nd, do you just like put your head on a pillow and rest for about 10 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess the good news is it sort of feels good to finish it, but knowing that like right after
the beginning.
Here we go. Right, great. Awesome. Well, thank you for this update. Really appreciate it. And best wishes to you and your family for the holiday season.
Thank you.
And hopefully have some fun and traditions to enjoy.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. We'll be right back with Senator Michael Moore. Hi, and welcome back. Joined today by Senator Michael Moore. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah.
And just so I don't forget, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays to you. So let's start with the easy stuff, no hardball stuff right now.
So it's the holidays. This is a Christmas
holidays,
gift.
Right? Yeah. So what do you do? What are you looking forward to over the next week or so with family, friends, any traditions that you enjoy?
Yeah, I started the tradition probably like 5 or 6 years ago of having my kids come over for Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. So I got to, my son's back from college. I got to pick my daughter up the Saturday, so the Saturday before Christmas Eve, bring her back, and then just spending time with the family, and then hopefully between Christmas and New Year's. It's funny, when I just left the house this morning, I'm looking at all these projects I have. I just haven't
between now and then?
Yeah. So I'm like, I got to get all this done. I got 3 days where I have some peace. So it's really getting a lot of stuff done. Yourself?
So I have a pretty small family, but we'll have family over on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and I enjoy cooking and baking and all that.
But you do all the cooking?
Yeah, and so I did the same thing this morning before the show. I was like, what do I need to do today? And checking it, because I inevitably go, I've got all my wrapping done, and then I get to Christmas Eve day, and I'm like, I have so much to do. So I'm going to get it done.
Yeah, so actually, so over the weekend I was actually thinking that, so part of our tradition is that once you're over 18, you get one gift.
Okay.
We do like a grab.
Yeah.
And then, but anyone under 18, everyone buys gifts for the kids.
Yep.
So I totally forgot that my kids now, that 19 and 22, they've got to buy gifts now for the younger kids.
Yeah.
So I was texting them over the weekend. So now I actually have to go out and do their shopping for them.
Right. They're like, we forgot it.
So now I got to run around and do that.
Got it.
But I'm looking forward to it. It's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Now, are you guys on break? I should know this, but are you on break right now?
Well, we're on break from formal session.
Okay, from formal session.
Okay. But I was in Boston yesterday. We had a meeting with Tufts University. Because they operate, as you know, they operate the veterinary school in Grafton.
Yep.
So we had a meeting with them. We had a meeting with TikTok.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so they
is
came
that
in
part of your?
As part of the committee, as my role in the committee.
With the long acronym that
yes,
I'm blanking on.
Advanced Information Technology, Cybersecurity.
Interesting.
Internet cybersecurity.
Okay, maybe we can talk about that in January. You're like kind of what you learned. That might be interesting.
Okay. We actually can in January too, hopefully. Tomorrow morning, so you're getting the breaking news.
Right here.
Right here. We are releasing a bill to the committee.
Okay.
So what that means is that myself and the House Chair, we're putting a bill out for the committee members to vote on that would regulate cybersecurity protocols, establish an AI commission that would look at establishing regulations.
Okay.
And then the last piece is a section that would prohibit robots from having guns or firearms.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we just added that at the end. Yeah. We had Boston Dynamics come in.
Okay.
We talked about the
Are
robots.
they the ones with the yellow dog-like? I think I saw a picture of you on LinkedIn or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had me tour their facility. Yeah. So I I always call it the Terminator bill.
Yeah.
Because it made me think when I sat down, I was like, if someone ever said to me 15 years ago, you'd be doing legislation dealing with robots with guns. So, so the commission, which should come out of the committee favorably. If it does, we'll announce it Friday morning and all that. But it would establish a regulatory board made up of the Secretary of Information Technology and Security. He would be the chair. Then would have the Fusion Center, the National Guard, the Attorney General's office, would have the ACLU. We would have, then we've got about 9 different stakeholder groups. So we'd have the industry that would be part of this. Because part of the thing we want to look at with this is making sure that whatever we set for regulations is not going to stifle future innovation.
Yeah, right. So it's a balance, right?
It's a balancing act. So we're looking at the commission just establish minimum guidelines for cybersecurity. And then the AI commission would basically do the same thing, would have government and would have the industry that would be part of it. Look at the role of AI right now. Look at finding out what government is actually utilizing as far as AI right now. And then also a broad comprehensive study, the direction it's going, and also look at the setting guidelines also on the use. Because right now, every month that goes by, I think it's just rapidly changing.
Well, and I would think that, I mean, from an industry perspective, it'd be like, oh God, one more commission, one more this. But the way you're presenting it is like, it creates a pathway for the industry to work with government.
Yes.
Kind of say, here's what you need to know, here's what, here's what's coming, here's what, here are potentially some of the pitfalls. So, I mean, it can be a win-win.
Well, and that's just as the only, so when we do legislation of this size, we meet with the stakeholders as we're drafting the legislation, and then then we'll have a draft. We send it out to all the stakeholders, have them look at it, and give us feedback. Actually it's funny, it's the only negative feedback we really received from the industry is they don't think government should regulate the private sector, which how can you, I find it hard to have that philosophy when AI and cyber that's in every aspect of people's lives. And so how do you, we have to have some guardrails. Some
guardrails, some consumer protections around that.
And and now, as we were saying before, is I look at that industry, to me, and even to my staff when we were writing this, they should be enthusiastic about this bill because of the amount of involvement they have in it. It's not just government regulators established. We've got industry experts there from the industry that the administration's going to appoint. So you would think that this would be a chance that they really should embrace it and try to work with government. But we'll see. So
that's exciting.
So if we can get past, if we can get this passed, I think we'd be the first state to actually do something of this. And then, so hopefully 5 o'clock Thursday, it'll come out of committee fine.
All right, put a little bow on it.
Put a little bow, and that'll be the Christmas gift.
There you go. Good, good. All right.
So basically, even though we're not in formal session, we're continuing to have meetings. There's committees are still having hearings. So this is where I think people have the perception that when they hear, oh, we're on recess for a month, they think everyone's on vacation.
Right.
So, and it's really not. I mean, this is actually a time where we're back in the community more, or committees are trying to catch up on getting bills, have hearings. Because I've testified at multiple hearings now on bills.
So you're not working in your pajamas every day?
No.
Good.
No.
Okay, all right, I feel better. I didn't think you were. Okay, so probably 2 more things to cover in the time that we have. So supplemental budget, and we're going to talk a little bit about PFAS.
Yes.
So if you can give an update on the governor's kind of budget and where that all stands.
Okay, so the last time we were here, the supplemental budget was still in conference. So we voted on the conference committee report, so it means we passed it, sent it to the governor. It includes $250 million for emergency shelter and housing. That includes support services, resources, and school reimbursements. Requires reporting every 14 days on the status of the migrant crisis and the housing.
When you say reporting out from like the governor's office?
To the governor's office, they've got to report to the governor's office, and they have to notify the legislature of where we are. $10 million in funding for resettlement agencies.
Okay.
So
Yep.
this is not these are not illegal immigrants. These are people who have come here legally and
Yep.
they're being resettled.
Yep.
So
Yep.
then we have $2 million in funding that would support career centers for immigrants and refugees.
Okay.
So that's the key, is trying to get them working.
Yep.
300. So again, this was a.
So those smaller items are within that first 250 that you just shared?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
The next item is, so this was a closeout sup and an additional supplemental budget.
Okay.
So the closeout sup is, so there were I don't know, several union contracts that were settled at the end of the spring. So we need to fund those.
Yep.
So there was $378 million to fund collective bargaining agreements
Okay.
for state employees.
Yep.
Then we have $75 million for impacted school districts. So like districts like Westboro and
Yep.
Shrewsbury, all the areas that are housing, that are providing support.
Yep.
$15 million for disaster relief.
Okay.
So we had the issue up in Andover, and we had the issue in Leominster. We had the
Leominster,
massive
sure.
flooding.
Yeah.
Then there's $500,000 for the Commission on Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer, and and questioning youth. And then there was a section that would in the bill that dealt with, in Everett, they were trying to, the Kraft business
Oh.
or family wanted to put a soccer stadium
Right.
in.
Yep.
So the House didn't do it, the Senate did it.
Yep.
Did put it in the sub. That was removed, so that
Okay.
is not going to be built.
Okay.
So that's an issue that's still going to have to go forward. There was questions right from the start whether it should be in there or it shouldn't be
Sure.
there.
Okay. So that will take on its own track. At
That's
some
going to
future
take on
point.
its own life somewhere
Okay.
else.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, so appreciate that. Let's talk about PFAS. PFAS is something here in Westboro we've been working on as it relates to kind of water supply and putting in some, I'm not going to get technical, but putting in systems to treat some two of the wells that we have that are offline that have an increased level of PFAS contaminant. So
Okay.
the town is working with the state through different programs to, kind of do that. So actually I should have our DPW director, and that reminds me for a future show to give an update on that. But you have an update as it relates to firefighters.
Yeah, so so PFAS, as you're saying, it's the forever chemical. It's in firefighter gear, also known as turnout gear. It's in the foam that they use to suppress the fires. It's also in food packaging and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But so there's 10 firefighters from Worcester filed the suit, and this would, and it's been joined by their entities. It's a class action suit looking at manufacturers who sell PFAS-treated products, knowingly sell these products. So myself and Representative James Hawkins,
Okay.
we drafted a letter and we circulated it out to our colleagues. And I think we had about as of last night, when we closed the signing on, allow other senators and representatives to sign on. I think we had close to 100 colleagues that
Okay.
we sent the letter to the Attorney General, Attorney General Campbell, to have her to join this suit
Okay.
and to help move it forward. So hopefully we'll get a positive response out of her office. And we also have, Representative Hawkins and I also worked on we have legislation filed that it's House 2339 and Senate 1556 for people who actually enjoy researching.
Yep.
An act relative to reduction of certain chemicals in firefighter personal equipment. And then I also have legislation with Representative Carol Doherty, which is an act to establish the establishment of the PFAS Research and Development Public Safety Fund.
Okay.
So if these two pieces of legislation could pass, in the research fund would actually the state investing in trying to find alternatives to the PFAS that's in the turnout gear now.
Yeah.
Because it's easy, we can ban it,
Yeah.
but if we ban, okay, what's now going to protect the firefighters?
Sure,
So
right.
it's actually interesting. This is in a sad way.
Yeah.
Since 2002 to 2019, cancer accounted for 66% of all firefighters' deaths.
Oh.
So the question is it coming from PFAS?
Right. Is it is it kind of by the nature of their work?
So
Right.
yeah, years ago, everyone thought it was just what they were exposed to going
Yeah.
into the fires.
Yeah.
Now we're finding out the foam, the gear they wear, it's all contaminated with this. And there's also we just did I also sent a letter to the Attorney General's office regarding online cancellations. So you go on the computer
Yep.
and you get asked to register for something.
Yep.
Then if you decide you want to unsubscribe, how difficult it is.
Sure.
So for that and junk fees,
Okay.
we sent a letter for the Attorney General's office because they're looking at right now established regulations
Okay.
to prohibit the junk fees.
Okay.
And also look at that if there's the cancellation has to be in the same open and transparent manner
Okay.
as it is to sign up.
Got it.
So if they have
Yeah.
big bold letters, click here. They got
Click here to sign up for free.
They can't
Yeah.
send you to 10 different sites to
Got
tell
it.
you to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that's pretty much what we've been doing during our break.
Wow.
So
You're not taking a break at all.
well,
That's good. We like to hear that from our. No.
I am next week.
Yeah. Well, good. Well,
I got a
well
tile
done.
floor I'm trying to do.
Oh, all right. Well, so wow, you're a man of many talents. I love it. I love it. All right. So hope to continue this. Appreciate that you've been part of kind of this first year of the 01581 Let's Talk that you've
Oh,
been
my
on
pleasure.
every
Oh,
month.
thank
Love
you
it.
for having me.
Yeah, love it. And I know folks they tell me they're watching, so
good,
your
okay.
constituents are out there listening to what you had to say, and hopefully you'll continue to join me in the new year,
Yeah.
and we'll do it on a monthly basis, and as your schedule allows, and we'll get more updates.
Sounds good.
Awesome, great. Well, happy holidays,
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas, enjoy
Happy
time with your
holidays,
family.
everyone.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the 01581 Let's Talk. Wishing you the very best of the holiday season, and here's to the new year.